So the Helldivers movie has officially been announced, and they've given zero details on it yet. I would imagine it's not even coming out this year based on how little details there are. We can really only wait for more news on who's directing it, castings, or any sort of hints on what the story may be like. And they literally only announced it, so I'm sure there is none of that stuff yet. Will it just be a sort of reboot Starship Troopers of Helldivers fighting bugs the whole time? Or will it actually be a movie involving the other factions, whether it's the automatons or cyborgs if we're going back to HD1, or hopefully even the Illuminate? So I wanted to make 5 things I want to see or not see in the Helldivers movie. And before we do that, a quick word from our sponsor. And today, that's Instant Gaming, a video game website where you can save a lot of money on video games you were planning to play anyway. They get keys directly from the developers, and that's how they're able to offer them to you for much, much cheaper. You can save over 20% on these new popular releases, or even up to 90% on classic games you haven't played in a while, or just an old game you want to go back to, and plenty of games in between. I used Instant Gaming to play Helldivers 1 Digital Deluxe Edition. It's only $3.50, and this includes all the weapon packs and DLC. They're also doing a giveaway for my channel this month for a free video game of your choice, or even just a gift card of your choice. So click my link in the description to shop with Instant Gaming, and there's a separate link down there for the giveaway. All right, so number 1 on the list, and I've seen tons of people say this, is no A-list celebrities. Now, flat out, I agree with you, but we have to remember it is Sony making this movie. They are likely looking to try and cast some big names to make some money with their top franchise. I think it's very unlikely that there isn't at least a few A-listers. So more specifically on my list, I'm saying no Rock, no Kevin Hart, and no Jack Black, because these 3 guys seem to be the poster actors for video game movies. Now, I don't think any of their inclusions necessarily make an adaptation bad, but when you see one of these actors, you don't think of the character they're playing. You kind of just think of, The Rock, Kevin Hart, or Jack Black. 2 of which are comedians, and, I think Helldivers is kind of a silly game, but it also takes itself seriously. It's not a comedy. The difference is, the world that Helldivers is in is absurd, but the characters themselves are not exactly trying to be funny. The main thing we need to remember for castings is that Helldivers are also very, very young, so they'd have to go with younger actors and actresses. Maybe someone like Tom Holland, I don't know, but, if they wanted to get an A-lister that was younger, he kind of comes to mind. There's also the fact that Helldivers are expendable, so maybe they could do a fake out where some A-lister is kind of promoted in the movie, but, the first 10 to 15 minutes, a little accident happens and someone needs to get reinforced, only to introduce the real protagonist to the movie. Kind of like the opening to The Other Guys would actually be perfect for this movie, and that actually also included The Rock in it. So if Sony, if they just really wanted to cast The Rock for another video game movie, he's already done that gag in the past, he could do it again. Now, some common castings I've seen are a lot of people asking for Sydney Sweeney as Eagle 1, and hey, a guy can dream. And another cool one I saw was Keanu Reeves showing up randomly as John Helldiver, blasting enemies, saving the missions from our protagonists, and then leaving, never to be seen again for the rest of the movie. That would be pretty badass, and I would enjoy both of those castings. All right, so on to number 2 on my list, and this one is a little bit annoying, but do not turn this movie into, about Super Earth is fascist and bad. This sort of trope is so played out. We just made a video on this the other day because, game journalists can't seem to stop talking about this. But I'm not the only one noticing this and thinking this. This meme just got over 20,000 upvotes on Reddit the other day saying, Helldivers fans when the movie ends with the protagonist, Chris Pratt, realizing managed democracy is a sham and Super Earth is bad and he leads a revolution to overthrow it, instead of leaning into the overall theme and satire of the game. Also, what I found hilarious was that the IGN article announcing the movie reminded us that Helldivers is about the fascist Super Earth government. And dude, I'm sorry, but no, it's not. Yeah, it's there, but that's not what it's about. Why do game journalists always do this, okay? The game is not about fascism awareness, and neither should the movie be. The best way I can put this, and the best way to make the movie in my opinion, would be imagine if the movie was made by Super Earth to enlist young cadets. That's the kind of satire that it should be. So basically what I want to see is the directors and writers for this movie to imagine they are the Ministry of the Truth, and they are trying to make an exciting and compelling movie trying to get more enlistment. If they want to stay true to the lore and want to make make the fan base happy? Well, one of the fan base's favorite things is role-playing as Helldivers. Anytime someone on Reddit or in a YouTube comment calls a gun overpowered and needs a nerf, hot take, I know, one of the top comments underneath is, "That sounds like bug propaganda," or "That sounds like bot propaganda." And hey, we just got the Squids, so now we could start saying, "That sounds like squid propaganda." And hell, we even just got the Face the Wall war bond, so Face the Wall has been a pretty common comment lately as well, under only treasonous posts, of course. And like, dude, game journalists, we're all joking, okay? Everyone seems to be in on the joke, except for you. And to be honest though, it's pretty common in Hollywood these days that they do the same thing as well, so please don't do it this time, not with the movie about our favorite video game. Alright, so number 3 on this list, and this is a short one, but it is an important one in my opinion. Start the movie, or very early on in the movie, give us that Helldivers opening cinematic. And please include Craig Lee Thomas, the actual actor for it. Now, I didn't even know about Craig Lee Thomas until he did the opening scene as a live action kinda during the Game Awards. But anyone who watched the Game Awards agreed his performance was amazing. Helldivers also won Best Trailer last year in multiple different Game Awards shows, and that trailer starred Craig Lee Thomas. He honestly just seems like a great guy, and Helldivers game director Pilestat has said on Twitter that he loves reprising the role and has a lot of fun doing it. On top of that, it would be an awesome opportunity for him and giving him more work in general, because let's be honest, he is actually iconic at this point. It would be really, like, actually cool, and fans of the game would love this, and I think he's technically part of the canon since, you know, the dude in the opening cinematic is modeled after him. It would all around be a win-win for everyone. Alright, so moving on to our honorable mention for this list, okay, I think that this movie shouldn't require you to sign in with your PlayStation account, and also be available in all countries, okay? Just like the Helldivers video game. You don't need a PSN to log in anymore, and it's available in, only countries that have PSN, actually. Anyways, moving on to number 4 on our list is including some awesome Easter eggs for us. Now, obviously this is gonna happen, but I just wanted to list some that I would love to see. So whether it's mentions of CO1 forms, which non-Helldivers players might not even understand that reference, but also PSA announcements, hopefully again with Craig Lee Thomas voicing them. Maybe one of the missions in the movie is about saving the children. And make sure when some of the cadets are on the Super Destroyer, at least some of the ones active for battle, one of them's over in the corner playing stratagem hero. Maybe one of the action scenes, a Helldiver is able to survive a big fall by emoting while mid-air. Alright, that one's a bit ridiculous and not really realistic enough for the movie, but it would be funny. Now, we've also got Eagle Sweat ads that need to be in the background, a Helldiver who's definitely not a stim addict, maybe someone can make a big play on the battlefield with a traitor barrage. And I would also love to see Helldivers on a mission who come across a dead farmer next to a devastator with a shovel in his head or a break action shotgun laying around nearby. A little small Easter egg that could go unnoticed is the Helldiver using the Liberator is constantly running out of ammo. We've got Coretta Kelly doing the news announcements. That one I think will actually just happen. And this could also just include some action scenes which, tie back to the games, like a last stand revolver headshot on a Hulk, some jump pack trick shots. We gotta see jump packs in the movie because they're so impactful in the game, or even just some awesome chase scenes that includes the FRVs that we all just got. And I swear there definitely needs to be, they call in a reinforcement and the new Helldiver coming in lands on one of the huge threats with their drop pod. There are plenty of things that can go on this list. Of course, there will end up being Easter eggs in the movie, given that Arrowhead themselves pay huge attention to detail in this game. And I probably think this will be their only involvement. Like, they're not going to have anything to do with castings or story writings. I'm pretty sure Arrowhead will basically just be consultants for, like, game lore and Easter eggs and stuff like that. I would love to see some of the community managers just, chatting about Easter eggs in the Discord and then secretly writing down a list to send off to Arrowhead. There's a lot of cool stuff they could do with this. Like, Helldivers wearing different armor sets, like a medic or the extra nade dude, or the dude in the scout armor constantly just crawling around the battlefield, playing stealth the whole time. That could end up being hilarious, but also, keep it serious. And comment down below what kind of Easter eggs you would want to see. And alright, finally, number 5, but I'd like to see more than just one faction involved. I kind of mentioned this earlier. I think Starship Troopers had a great formula for their movie, and, Helldivers will kind of probably follow that a little bit, given that the game was loosely based on it. But if the movie only focuses on fighting the bugs, it would kind of go down as a meme ripoff reboot Starship Troopers at home. Now, we also don't know what kind of lore they're gonna follow. Are they gonna go back to Helldivers 1, in which case the automatons didn't exist yet, it was the cyborg. And that can be pretty cool, even though Helldivers 2 is the more popular game and the automatons will definitely resonate more with the audience. I also think if the movie was focusing on the Illuminate, that could actually probably be the most badass version of it. We'll talk about that a bit more later. However, how I kind of imagine it is, you know, they start off maintaining the bugs, maybe some like colonists are dying in the background and that's why the Helldivers get sent in. It's more chill, more relaxed, obviously some battle happening, but mainly, you know, we just kill the bugs to farm element 710. But then all of a sudden the bots or the cyborgs attack on the other side of the galaxy, the Helldivers are mobilized, and this is where the real war happened. Now, one other thing we have to talk about is how are they going to handle multiple reinforcements, because that is definitely core to the game. But when you honestly, and I know people want to see this sort of in the movie because it would be funny, but at the end of the day, I would imagine that there's at least one or a few main protagonists that stay alive the whole time. You know, this is kind of a piece of lore that they probably will break a little bit if we're being honest. You know, making a compelling movie that can hold people's interest, especially people who don't play Helldivers, if it's constantly rotating through characters, that would be very difficult to actually pull off successfully. You can't, you know, you can't lie. That would be really hard to pull off. I would find it hard to imagine that any director or scriptwriter would actually go that route. And again, like I mentioned earlier, if this is from the perspective of like Super Earth is the ones making this movie as a propaganda piece, they probably would have some brave protagonists, because the last thing you want new cadets thinking is that they're gonna die within 15 minutes of being deployed, which, correct me in the comments, I think it's about 15-minute average lifespan of a Helldiver. All right, so another great plot point in general would be the Battle of Malevolent Creek. Now, this heavily matters on whether we're going back to Helldivers 1 and it's the cyborgs instead, but like I said, Helldivers 2 is obviously the much more popular game, and featuring major order plot points from the second game would definitely resonate with the fans much more than Helldivers 1. The other thing is Malevolent Creek was single-handedly the most influential and most meme-worthy plot point in Helldivers 2. Whenever I'm streaming and ask random people when they started playing the game, unless they said on launch, their answer was, I think the most common answer I've heard was, I saw the memes for the creek and I wanted to enlist into the fight. Now, to be fair, we've also probably just gotten a ton of new players with the Illuminate, but even so, the creek was where Helldivers were born and died. With that being said though, a movie focusing on the Illuminate would be insane. And not just the current Illuminate, but you know, you gotta imagine this game won't be out for probably 2 to 3 years, so we would have the full faction by then. There are the Illuminate wizards with their mind control, reversing stratagems. Imagine cadets turning on each other and killing each other. That would be some like psychological horror scenes a little bit there. The War of the World size harvesters, you know, beaming people down, on top of them turning colonists into voteless. So it would be like an alien and a zombie movie all at the same time. They're definitely the coolest faction in Helldivers 2 right now. Of course, once their full roster drops, they'll be much better, but I think it would make for the most badass version of the movie, in my opinion. So I want you to let me know in the comments, if you can only choose one faction to be in the movie, which one would you choose? I think obviously we would want to see like 2 factions worked in at some point, you know, like I said, maybe just starting off a little bit more chill, farming bugs, and then a different faction attacks on the other side of the galaxy, and that's where the real plot is. All right, and that's it for the video. We obviously have 0 information. It was only just announced. It's probably not even anywhere near being ready yet, probably a minimum of a year or 2, even upwards of 3. I just thought it would be fun to make this kind of video, so be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Check out Instant Gaming for cheap video games, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.